Hi you guys, and welcome back to our channel. Thank you for liking, subscribing, being here, being you. There's only one of you here, so be the best. Thank you for being a part of my dream and my journey, and for sharing your time with me, y'all. I just gotta turn my game on real quick because, you know, I had planned to do this video before the game. You know, I made myself a whole little 20-minute cushion and everything, and then I had to take a shit. So it's okay, but it's okay, like, it's just football, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna turn it on because Lamar Jackson back. So, but how are you guys doing? Right now we're gonna talk about The Woman in the Yard. I think that's what it's called. It was like a horror thriller movie that came out earlier in this year of 2025, but I just now watched it during spooky season. So yeah, first and foremost, I saw mixed reviews on the movie, but of course it was a black movie, all black cast. I'm sad. The fuck, good or bad, I'ma at least watch it one time, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could give an hour and 30 minutes for my black people. That ain't no problem. So, but, and I saw that people didn't really like the movie because it wasn't really like horror or, you know, like scary. It was just more so about your mental health. And then I saw that some people liked the movie because it was about mental health and grieving and trauma and stuff like that. And I just want to say, like, either way it goes, mental health is still scary. You know, dealing with grief, dealing with depression, dealing with those type of harmful thoughts, suicidal thoughts and stuff like that, that's still scary. So in a sense, it was still a scary movie. Of course, so as always, sometimes if you never experience something, you deadass don't know what it feels like, or you know that you never been in people's shoes and stuff like that. So you know, you just, to some people it's just like, oh, whatever, like mental health, da. But I love how the movie honestly broke that down, like how scary it is sometimes to battle your own thoughts, and sometimes like the thoughts that come to you, whether, like I said, it comes to harming yourself, or even her, it came to harming her kids. She just had lost her husband, and she was hurt, and the car accident happened because of her. And then on top of that, like before, not because of her, it was still an accident, but she was driving. And then even before the accident, like the way her and her husband were kind of arguing, because she was like, I'm not happy here, and he was like, but I thought this is what you wanted. And she was like, yeah, I thought this is what I wanted too, but I'm not happy. And he's like, okay, so what do you want to do? And she's like, I want to leave. And he's like, okay, but we can't leave because we already have everything and do. But so they was already like arguing. So it's like all of that on top of each other, and she's taking care of 2 kids. She was going through it. So it was like the lady that was in the yard, it wasn't like a ghost, it wasn't like a monster, it wasn't none of that. It was basically her own type of demon. And it was like, you know, basically before the lady in the yard like showed up, she was like, you asked for me to be here because you were asking me for strength. And you know, why were you asking me for strength? And she was like, so I can keep going on. And the lady was like, no. And that's when I was like, oh shit, I see what y'all did there. She was asking for strength to actually do boom boom ba. And I could relate to that. I could. If you know my story, you know my story. I've had suicidal thoughts, and it really do be like that. It's like, I don't think I'm strong enough to do that for real. I ain't gonna lie. You know, it's a different type of, to really do that. You know, you call it on everybody, you call it on everything, you like, I don't know, you know. So I was like, wow, like I loved how like that spinned around, because sometimes even within our own selves and confronting our own dark sides or demons or our ladies in the yard, sometimes it's like we think we do want something, but whole time deep down, if we're being honest with ourselves, we know what the fuck we really want to do. And that's why, like, when she gave her kids away and was like, go to the neighbors, and then she went upstairs and she had the gun like to her neck and everything like that, I was like, I literally started crying. I was just like, wow, like, it's just, that's really mental health, and that's really how scary it is. Like the fact that people and some of us actually really get to that point of like we're literally right there, like ready to do it, ready to pull the trigger. But then it's like, you know, she had her kids to live for. She was like, I'm gonna write a whole new story and everything like that. Like, you know, you don't, just because the story looks a certain way doesn't mean you have to follow it and keep it going that way. You could change it and everything like that. And she said that too. I was just like, oh my gosh, it was kind of beautiful how they put her whole mental health into a movie like that. And so, you know, she was really battling herself. And I think and I don't know, but in our communities, and especially when I have my channel, so that we could talk more about these things. Oh good, we're starting on defense, so I got time. Shout out my ancestors, thank y'all. So one thing that we don't really talk about too much, especially when it comes to parenting, is how much, like, when you become a parent and you decide to have a kid, mother or father, you're deciding to be here for that kid no matter what you're going through. You could be going through the worst of the times, but then baby still gotta eat. Then baby still gotta go to school. Then baby still need a bath. You might not feel like giving yourself a bath. You might not feel like brushing your own teeth. You know, that's how depression is. You don't feel like eating. You don't care to do none of that stuff. But your kids need that. So as much as you're not taking care of yourself, you literally are pouring from an empty cup because you have to. You have to take care of your kids. And I think that's something that we have to, like, or especially within our parenting communities, that we should talk about more, because it's like that's the reality. Like, you could be going through what you're going through, you could lose a partner, you could lose your mom, your dad, and you still got to be there for them kids and, you know, be strong for your kids, because your kids already don't really know what the fuck is really going on. But add on top of that your own grief and your own mental shit, they really don't know what's going on. So it's like so yeah. And I think another thing that we don't really, especially that we don't talk about, is grieving. And especially we don't talk about how you can grieve the smallest things. Like, you could break up with somebody and you're grieving that. You can end up in a job that you didn't think you were gonna end up in, and you can grieve that. You can get out of school, graduate college, and grieve that you're not in college anymore. You know, we literally can grieve over any type of change. And grief is so deep. Grief is so strong. It's so powerful, because it literally is like something. And in her case, obviously somebody really did die. But in any type of death, whether it is a physical death or whether it is just some type of thing that just died in our own lives, like, grief is so freaking strong and deep that, like, it's like when you're grieving, you really do, you know, like, the world really doesn't stop. And, you know, some of us we don't have a chance to take a break. Like, you still gotta go to work, you still gotta go to school, you still gotta do what you gotta do. You know, they got us in this little program that you still gotta make your money, you still gotta be on the hustle, you still gotta be on the grind. So, but grief, like, literally that whole movie just literally put grief and depression, maybe a little bit of psychosis, into, it was, in my opinion, it was beautifully portrayed. And I think for me, it just made me remember, like, to kind of, like, check in on loved ones, check in on each other, be kind to each other. You know, in times like that, she needed community. Like, where was the grandparents? Where was the aunts, the uncles, her friends, you know? And of course, she was on a farm. She was kind of in the middle of nowhere. She did, like she said, they did end up, like, moving and everything like that. But it's like, during that time, you really need love. You really need extra support. You really need extra people around you keeping an eye on you, because those thoughts for real can really get to turn it and really convince you, like that lady did. Like, you should do what you want to do. You should do what you're thinking about. Fuck them kids. So, yeah, now, once again, I don't know if she had outside family, but in the film, nobody was there helping her. Nobody even, well, the power was out too, so I want to say nobody called her, but the power was out and her phone was out. And so, yeah, but yeah, she was, like, hallucinating and everything, and that's just, like, for real, she needed love. She needed her family there, whatever family she had. And yeah, it just reminded me of that, like, how much we really are important to each other. Even if you have one person, like, We really are. We really need each other as people and as human beings. Excuse me, I think I just spit, but I don't see it, but I saw it come out of my mouth. So but yeah, I loved that movie. I feel like it is a great mental health movie. Once again, I feel like it literally portrayed it in a great way, in my opinion, especially with the things that I have been through. That's literally what it feels like. Somebody's invading your property and you're like, hey, back up, I don't know you, go back to where you came from. But then it just gets closer and closer and closer, and it's like, now you really got to start throwing hands. So yeah, but I think that's all I had to say about the movie. I honestly, this is the thing that I love about being black, is that like black people, like, we could make horror and thriller in any type of way. Any type of way, you know. Like, a lot of people did expect this to be a little ghosty thing. Y'all need to start thinking out the box. How many ghost movies we have? How many paranormal activity movies we have? Like, black people, we so creative. We so let's make a movie about this lady in the yard, and people's gonna think that it's a horror movie and it's a ghost and da. But boom, plot twist. It's just her own mental health. Come through. I'm all for it. I love that. I feel like it was so creative for me, in my opinion, once again. But I think that's all that I have to say for my Woman in the Yard review. Would I watch it again? I would, especially now that I've seen it. I feel like I could go back and see more things. I honestly wouldn't mind another, like, a sequel to this, just to see, I don't know, maybe dig more into her husband, maybe dig more into her family, dig more into, like, was she able to get help? That's another thing too. Therapy is so important, you guys. Like, if you're watching this video and you are going through your own type of grief or depression or mental health, therapy is so important. And I know within our country there's so much going on with the economy, with benefits and everything like that, insurance. I know, but if you can get help, please get help. Therapy is just so important, especially during times like that. Just having somebody to talk to and having somewhere that you can go to let things out and express. I just wanted to say that I love therapy down. So yeah, I want to see, you know, I wouldn't mind seeing all that. I wouldn't mind seeing the kids grow up and seeing how the kids even thought about it, because obviously the kids were in the house with her, and, you know, especially with mom and a child, like, kids know what's up with their mothers just as much as mothers know what something's up with their kid. Like, they're literally bonded utero womb, like, you know what I'm saying? So your kid knows. So I know that her kids knew, like, mom's off, or, you know, mom hasn't been the same since dad died, like, boo boo boo. So I wouldn't mind seeing their point of view on things, and maybe how they even the older brother, like, he kind of had to step up and take care of the dog and his sister. So maybe, like, yeah, just how did they feel about it? How did they feel seeing their mom like that? And especially, once again, as kids, they really don't know for real what's going on. They're just living their life as well. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing all of that. I feel like they definitely could do a little sequel and do a little something. So yeah, I think that's all I had to say about it. My rating, I will give it an 8. I'll give it an 8. Maybe a 9. I don't know. I liked it. I liked it. So that's why I'm like 8, 9. So I don't know. But as always, what are you guys' thoughts? You are welcome to leave anything that you want to say that's appropriate and kind. But you're welcome to leave your review. Leave any suggestions if there's any of the movies that I should be watching and reviewing as well. And as always, be safe and responsible. Take care of yourself. Take care of your mental health. If you need help, ask. Talk to a friend. Talk to somebody, even if it's just one person. Okay? And I love you, and I'm proud of you. And stay another day. We need you here on this earth, baby. Okay, this is all an illusion. This is all a dream. You know, we're gonna die anyway, so just enjoy your time here. I love you guys. Bye.